Someday, comfort. Available at TD Canada Trust branches.
When it comes to buying real estate, location, 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 that's the mantra we always hear. So what does Target see in Zeller's 220 stores, and how many will they actually keep? For more perspective, we're now joined by retail real estate expert Rick Pennycooke. He's the president of Lakeshore Group. So, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
You know, what do they see?
Well, it's a fabulous play, and as you said off the top, location is everything. It's a mantra, but for retailers, bad retail or bad real estate will kill a good retailer every single time. So Zellers has, by and large, very good locations. They've been traditionally in very visible real estate locations on very busy streets, and with the advent of power centers in the last decade, which really thrive on visibility, access to major highways, their sites their later sites have become very, very valuable.
Well, but Zellers actually targets, if you will, a different clientele than Target, does it not?
Well, in some ways, yes, in some ways, no.
Because what I'm wondering is if Zellers was right in picking its locations for its clientele, they wouldn't necessarily be the right locations for Target's clientele.
Right. Well, you know, Zellers had the problem, I think, of not moving, shifting with the times. And what Target has done really, really well is ridden that cheap chic trend and created such a buzz. It's been a long time since a retailer has created a lot of buzz, and Target has it and has been riding that for a while.
So what then does that mean to other retailers?
Well, there's going to be some competition, and surprisingly, Loblaw is going to face a lot of competition for them because Target has food, and Loblaw has Joe Fresh, which is cheap chic. So they're going to be right in the crosshairs of
that's
Target.
interesting. No one's really been talking about Loblaw as a competition. Everyone talks about Walmart.
Right.
What's behind this strategy? Now, they're bought 220 leases, but they're opening just up to 150 stores.
Right.
Why did they evaluate the real estate and say, hey, we might as well use this as an opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they cherry-picked the best locations. I mean, Zellers has been around for a long time, so they're still in some areas where Target isn't initially going to want to go. Some of the smaller towns where Zellers might be on the traditional main street, which is not a great big box location.
Which is why they'll source those out to others. What about the signage? What will they do there?
Well, signage is always an interesting thing with municipalities. Municipalities really have a hate-on for signage, and signage approvals end up being a real battle. And they'll have to get their approvals like everybody else. A number of years ago, I was in a battle on behalf of Zellers because the municipality said, well, we only allow letters to be 6 feet tall, and their L's are, the two L's in Zellers are 7 feet tall, and we had a battle for months.
Really?
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Things you don't know that go on behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
Well, that's what makes the fascinating stories. And what about the strategy, the switch in strategy for Target? Initially was thinking about coming in and just sort of sticking a toe in the Canadian water and seeing, you know, what it was like, and then just saying, forget it, we're coming in the front door. Yeah,
well, it's tough to sort of stick your toe in a market like Canada that's so geographically spread out. So this was a great play. Basically open up overnight. I know it's going to be a couple of years before we see the first store, but that's actually a very short time frame.
And you know, you think about it, when Richard Baker bought HSBC and the associated stores with it, it was only back in 2008.
Right.
And I think he paid $1.1 billion for it, and now he sells this for $1.83 billion. What do you think of the price?
Well, to me, it makes sense. I mean, when the Bay was purchased, he had to purchase a lot of bad with the good. He found an opportunity, and he's a real estate guy, so he probably saw this.
Savvy one, I would suggest. That's a nice return.
Exactly. So he was able to put together the ultimate real estate deal. I mean, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
It really is brilliant.
Okay, what about who do you think are likely to take some of these leases that Target is buying and doesn't want?
Well, it's hard to say, but I think that some other smaller American players will be looking at it. But the landlords may want some of this space back in any event because it's anchor space, which traditionally is not leased out at very high rates. So if they can parcel up this space and give it to the smaller retailers that pay 3-4 times as much as the anchor tenants, they may be happy in a number of instances to have the space back.
Now, will there be any zoning issues beyond, you know, I guess the obvious there, but like, will they want the same type of store?
Well, typically, Target is about anywhere from 25 to 50% larger than a Zeller store. So in a
Yeah,
number
that's
of
what I'm thinking.
locations, they'll probably need to expand the footprint. And then you run into a number of zoning issues with coverage or the amount of parking that's provided. And those are long, drawn-out battles as well. So again, that 2-year time frame that we're looking at for the first range of Target stores to open up is actually not very long, because they'll have these issues to deal with. They'll have to go through all of the individual leases, because each of these stores has its own lease.
Yeah.
And that's going to keep the lawyers busy for quite some time.
So I guess even to wrap it up, you would say a brilliant deal.
Brilliant deal, and
Brilliant deal.
it really is a win-win for the consumer, the landlord. It's fabulous. I think everybody's excited about it.
Great to get
Awesome.
your insight.
Thank
Rick,
you.
thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Rick Pennycooke, president of the Lakeshore Group. Coming up, we are going to have Street Talk, and Street Talk is today addressing the idea of Canadian companies being acquirers, or acquirees.
Acquirees.
That's the question we were asking yesterday, and we'll have that for you when Street continues after this.